Ebeneezer Okpokpo, we know what your prediction is regarding the vote.
You see, when people talk of the Northeast and the incompetence of the Jonathan administration, I always sort of laugh. Nigeria has been independent for about 50-something years now. We were independent in 1960. If there are no infrastructures in the north, there is no development in the northeast, etc., etc. Is it in 4 years or 5 years? Is it the Chibok girls that suddenly have made the northeast a very developed urban areas where these things existed, and then suddenly President Jonathan came and all of that disappeared? No, for heaven's sake. Nothing was done in those areas. They were abandoned in those areas. There was nothing. The U.S. government refused to intervene in the Boko Haram fight because they said no American interest in the area was threatened. There was no American interest, no threat to any American interest in who invests in those areas? Nobody. And so let us come back to a reality. The reality is that these regions were abandoned by successive governments, be it Jonathan or whoever. Obasanjo was there. Buhari was there as a military head of state. Babangida was there. What did they do in the north, for heaven's sake? Why would suddenly everybody wake up and then, yes, because for 4 years that Jonathan was there, so Jonathan hasn't done this, hadn't done that in the northeast. What did other governments do? That's the question nobody wants to answer.
Can I say something? I think it's a very wrong approach that you are adopting, Mr. Popo. I seriously think it's very wrong.
But it is a fair point that previous governments neglected the North.
What were the investments you made?
The previous government, I lived in Yola for well over a year. It was a peaceful region. You had people working, you had a couple of industries there, manufacturing things. In Mubi,
then suddenly all disappeared because President Jonathan came?
Excuse me.
All of that disappeared?
We don't justify someone's failure by my own failure. It's not because the previous government failed that we should now justify the failure of President Jonathan. What I'm saying is the Nigerian army went into Liberia, went into Syria alone. They have a track record. How come they return home, we have insurgency in our place, and we are looking up to the Americans? Nigeria is a sovereign state, if we agree on that basis. When there was insurgency in the South-South, when Asari Dokubo and his boys came up, and we had problems with the oil industry, President Yaradua negotiated with them. President Jonathan was, as a vice president, was actually fully involved in the negotiation until they struck the amnesty deal. Now, Boko Haram started way back in 2001, if I'm right. And how come everybody left that group to fester?
Why didn't the Northern leaders make an initiative? Why was there no initiative by the Northern leaders?
Now,
why didn't the Muslims take initiative?
The only excuse we got from President Jonathan was that the military had no weapons. And we asked for each year that we had budgets for the defense. What was the money spent on?
All right, so both sides on tenterhooks over all of this, and again, that tension continuing. Final comment to this one on Facebook from Paul. The vote went smoothly in my state, and I'm very sure the incumbent president will be elected as president. So we have a split jury when it comes to how the viewers feel about the outcome. Same with the panel. I want to thank once again Ebeneezer Okpokpo. I want to thank Yommi. I want to thank Adeyemi Adefulu and Japhet Omojua for joining us from Lagos. Stay with us. It's time for Media Watch.